Be confident, be bold, be authentic, but don't forget to take action. This is Ordinary to Badass, where our stories empower women to step into the spotlight of their own lives and pursue what they're truly passionate about. It's time to step into the arena and become more than just extraordinary. It's time to become a badass with your host, Marie Sonneman.
Welcome to Ordinary to Badass, episode number 216. In this episode, I'm going to share 3 reasons why Terre Short is so badass. In case you missed the last episode, Terre is a coach for the past 30 years. She's been a coach in some form or another, and she's a human potential developer. And we talked all about mindset, things that are going on in your head with your personal podcast. So good. So go back, listen. If you're short on time, then catch this episode to hear the 3 reasons why Terre Short is so badass. Now, if you're a fan of the show, if you like Terry's episode or you like this episode, I would be so grateful if you headed on over to iTunes and left a 5-star rating and review. Your reviews help get more badasses just like you to this podcast. And then if that's not your thing, then hit the 3 little dots in the top right corner of your podcast player, and you should have an option to share the podcast. Share it with a friend, share it with a family member, somebody who you think can find value from this episode or from this podcast, because every little time that you share this definitely helps me get new people into the community that are just like you. And people like you are ideal listeners for this podcast. All right, with that, let's get to the episode already. Welcome to Ordinary to Badass, episode number 216. In this episode, you're going to hear 3 reasons why Terre Short is so badass. So, first reason why she's badass is her thoughts don't control her. Second reason is the question she asks herself to eliminate doubt. And the third reason is she looks for the lesson. With that, let's go ahead and dive right in. I gotta be honest, I'm not feeling a lot of fluff today, so it might be a short episode because I'm kind of like, let's get to the nitty gritty here. So let's get to it. The first reason why Terre Short is so badass is because her thoughts don't control her. So Terre talked about the different episodes, so to speak, that we play in our head. And this is all around the thoughts that we think, right? So she said sometimes there's a pinball episode, or where you just keep going to the same thought, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Or maybe it's a rabbit hole episode, so you start going down a rabbit hole. But the ultimate thing is that you are the podcast host, the producer, the director, the narrator, and ultimately you get to decide what comes next. You get to decide what the voices are saying. There is so much power in taking ownership and being able to make a decision or getting a choice, right? And so you might not have control over the very first thought that comes to your head. Maybe it's a negative thought. You can't control that first thought that comes to your head. But what you can control is the follow-up thought. And that follow-up thought can either lead you down that rabbit hole or lead you to that pinball, keep going back and forth, back and forth. You're fighting the reality of what your thought was. And so that can make you miserable, right? But this is all within your control. You can choose what to do next. You can choose the second thought to think. And then this is your personal podcast. Is your personal podcast going to be one where you're beating yourself up, where you're talking down to yourself? Imagine all these thoughts that are in your head. And what if they were actually played on a podcast episode? That could be pretty crazy. Some people, the things that they say out loud about themselves is disturbing. And I'm not hating on them. I've said bad things about myself. Everybody has. But it really, people I love, and when they say bad things about themselves, it drives me nuts because I'm like, oh my gosh, if that's what they're saying out loud to me, I can only imagine what they're saying in their head. But then even further picture it. What if that's on blast? All these mean things that you're saying to yourself in your head, you're putting it out on the podcast. Like, oh my goodness, I'm a total piece of crap. I've done so bad. I can't do this right. I always mess up, blah, blah, blah. Would you subscribe to that podcast? Would you listen to it? Probably not. Nobody needs a negative Nelly in their ear 24/7. But yet, we as humans are attracted to negativity. So it is so easy to get drawn into these negative people or get drawn into these negative thoughts in our head. These negative thoughts can be like the flashing neon sign that just like attract us and draw us in. But that doesn't mean that they're good for us. It doesn't mean that they're healthy. Sometimes I think that changing these negative thoughts are a lot easier than we think. But maybe we just want to stay on that negative side. Maybe we're drawn to that negative side. I know that I certainly am drawn to negative thoughts. So I have to fight my darndest not to feed into that negativity that's going on in my head. But a good reminder is that's your personal podcast. If you're not going to listen to it on the air, if you're not going to listen to it from somebody else, why in the heck would you listen to it from yourself? You can control your thoughts. Again, maybe not the first one, but the second one you can. And I don't really care. If you have to wait till you're 5 thoughts in till you catch it, you're like, whoa, okay, this isn't the way I want to go. This isn't the hole I want to go down. So I'm going to change this thought. How is this helping me? How is this benefiting me? But you do have the time to change it. So maybe it takes 2 or 3 thoughts till you're like, oh wait, I'm not going down this. I'm not going to believe this. It's time to turn this train around. Or it takes you 5 thoughts. Who cares how many it takes you? You just keep practicing and working on it. If you start at 5 thoughts in, then you catch yourself. Okay, cool. Maybe next time it'll be 4. And you slowly decrease the amount of negative thoughts. So it's like that first choice, that first piece is playing, and then you get to choose. And this is something that Terry talked about. You get to choose what's playing next. You get to choose what's playing in your head. And are they the right words? You can change the station, right? You don't have to subscribe to that noise, to that mess. If it's not making you feel good, you don't have to keep subscribing to it. So maybe it's time you start playing a different podcast in your head and you start listening to something different and trying it out. What works for me might not work for you. What works for Terry, might not work for me or you. It doesn't matter, but you take a little bit of what these experts that are on the show, you take a little bit of what they say, and you test it out for yourself. Give it a little bit of time. And you really try out what works for you. Insanity is doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different result. So if you've tried to change these thought patterns in your head, and you haven't tried the things that Terry suggested, then dive all in. Go for it. What do you have to lose? If your podcast doesn't change or your narrative in your head doesn't change after applying the techniques that Terry taught, okay, fine. At least you can say you tried. At least you can say you gave it your darndest, right? Because what is this going through life not ever trying to change, not ever trying to improve, not learning things from the other badass women around us? That is the whole point. So definitely pay attention to your inner thoughts. Realize you control them. They don't control you. All right, number 2. The second reason why Terry Short is so badass is because of the question she asked herself. Terry would ask herself a lot of questions, like out of curiosity, to inquire within herself, to determine what she truly believed. So she gave this example about wearing white pants or white shorts after Labor Day and how it's not okay. At least where she grew up, it wasn't okay. But then now in California, that's not a reality. You can wear white pants after Labor Day. But she would ask herself, does this serve me any longer? And she said for her, it didn't serve her any longer because she lived in California and that wasn't her truth in California. Terry also said that she would take those white pants and go in front of a mirror and then hold them up and say, what am I hearing? Like, what am I hearing when I look at these? What am I saying? What am I allowing to be said? Do I truly believe that? And how do I want to change? Don't undermine the importance of the power of questions. Questions in a curiosity nature, or being a curious frame of mind. Instead of being in a judgmental frame of mind, Terry is in a curious frame of mind. So she asks her questions, but she's not judging herself harshly based on the answer. It's more out of curiosity. What does this mean to me? What could this look like? Is this something I value? Just start asking yourself questions and the answer will probably come to you relatively quickly. So if you want to eliminate self-doubt, ask yourself questions with curiosity. Sit in front of a mirror and ask yourself questions. This is something that I recently have tried to do. I will tell you, I am no good at it. I run out of things to say immediately, which I'm really pretty short-winded, so that's not a big shocker. But still, it's I should have things to say to myself, right? And then I sit there and I'm just silent. What's going on here? But it's something to do. Sit in front of the mirror and have a good conversation with yourself. If you can't have a conversation with yourself, who can you have one with? So just sit there out of curiosity. Don't judge yourself being in front of a mirror. Just ask yourself questions and then look for the deep meaning. Look for the hidden meaning. Because you're looking right at yourself in the mirror. So sometimes that just switches something in your head and makes it more real. And then makes you want to tell yourself the truth. So sit in front of a mirror and ask yourself questions. If you're not there yet, you don't want to sit in front of the mirror, or you're just sitting in your car waiting to pick up your kids, something like that, okay. Sit there and ask yourself questions. There is a mirror in the car, by the way. So that is an option. But if that's not your jam, or you're not ready to do it, don't let the whole mirror exercise stop you. You can ask yourself questions anywhere. Seriously, anywhere. And if you're not asking them out loud, you can still be asking them in your head, and that can still serve you. We can learn from things that we're willing to look at, that we're willing to be curious about, that we're willing to be non-judgmental about. But if we're too busy beating ourselves up or beating somebody else up, it's hard to actually learn, right? When's the last time you yelled at somebody and they really learned? Yeah, it happens sometimes, but a lot of times you just piss people off, right? So maybe it's a matter of asking questions and getting curious. Do that with yourself. Consider doing that with other people. And just maybe do it as a trial method. See how that changes things for you. See how that helps you. How does it help your relationship with other people? So definitely take the Terry method and ask questions to eliminate self-doubt. All right, the third reason why Terry is so badass is because she looks for the lesson in things. She teases out the positive. When Terry is feeling like she's not enough, she tries to reframe her thoughts. She says she puts it back through the filter. So if Terry doesn't accomplish her goal or the things that she set out to do, then she thinks about it for a minute. What were the positives? Maybe she decides that what she spent her time on was more important than the goal that she had originally set out on, or the mission she originally sent out on. So, it's a positive I got to do this. This is important to me. So that's good. Or I chose family over my goal this time, and that's really important to me. My family is part of my values. So Terry really looks at her experiences and tries to figure out what the positive was, what she can learn with it, and why did she fail? And then if she failed, she can proactively plan for the next time, what she could do differently, what she can do better. There's always something to learn or to improve upon, right? But after she gathers that information, she uses that information for the next time. Okay, what can I learn from this? How can I react next time this happens to me? And then once she tries to play out, what can I do next time? Next time she's going to be more prepared for it because she's going to see it coming. Instead of sitting there wallowing in the pity, wallowing in the shame, she looks for the positive. She looks for the lesson or how she can adjust going forward. I often talk about pivoting and how important pivoting is. After you fail, it is so important to pivot and maybe take a slightly different direction. You don't have to do a complete 180 or 360. You can just slightly pivot, keep all of the same things and one little thing different, and then test that out, see how that works. And you just kind of keep tweaking and keep learning. And it doesn't have to be a failure kind of thing. It's a learning kind of thing. I'm just learning. You're just learning. There's no shame in that. Many parents or adults teach their kids, teach their relatives, like their nieces or nephews or whatever it is, teach them to learn, grow, that failure is okay. That's just part of the learning process. But then we forget that as an adult. We think that no longer applies once you're an adult and it only applies to the little ones. Well, that's not true. Learning applies to you. If we're not learning, we're dead. So take the time to start learning something new and give yourself grace for the little mistakes you make. And then when it happens, where you make a mistake, you feel like you're not enough, you feel guilty, you feel bad, then you start to look for the lesson in it or tease out the positive. And sometimes this is not going to happen overnight. It's not going to happen in the first month. It might take a little bit of time to figure out the positive and to separate yourself from the pain or the overwhelm that you're dealing with, or like our ego gets involved, right? So it might take a little bit of time and space, but after a month or two, you can reflect. If there was a positive lesson in this, what would it be? Or if I could take something home, take something away from this, what would it be? If I had to do this again, what would I do differently? This is your life. It's your personal podcast. You get to choose what's said, what's done, where to go from here. If you want to keep listening to it, or if you want to change the station and you want to start hearing a different tune in your head, the choice is up to you, my friend. So quick recap, 3 reasons why Terre Short is so badass. Because they're her thoughts, they don't control her feelings, or they don't control her. 2, the questions that she asks herself. And 3, how Terre looks for the lesson in everything. So if you like Terry's episode or this recap episode, throw it on the gram, in your Instagram stories, and tag me at Ordinary to Badass and Terre at Terre Short. One word, T as in Tom, ERRESHORT. Tag us, let us know what your takeaways were. What did you learn from the episode? What helped you? What did you implement? What are you going to implement? Any feedback lights me up, so I cannot wait to hear from you on Instagram at Ordinary to Badass. All right. With that, we'll end our show. To all the badass women out there staying in the arena, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, own it and get after it.
Now that you've listened to this episode of Ordinary to Badass, we want to hear from you. Go to our website, ordinarytobadass.com/podcast, and submit your own experience on how you took your life from ordinary to badass and get the chance to be on a future spotlight episode of the show. That's ordinarytobadass.com/podcast. While you're waiting for the next episode of the show, wipe off the sweat, dust off the dirt, and get back in the arena.